Welcome, everybody, to the Dynasty 365 show. Happy Football Eve, everybody. It's here. We finally made it. Football is tomorrow, and we cannot be more excited than we are right now. I'm Stacy Perez. I have got a full house tonight. We've got Tyler Howe, Chris Burns, Bill Mustafa, and introducing our new college football correspondent, we have got Miss Michelle Kirkpatrick. Guys, who's ready for some early Rookie of the Year predictions? Oh. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this lovely, lovely football eve. Don't forget to put your comments and questions on over into the chat. And let's go ahead and introduce our newest to the show. That would be Miss Michelle. Tyler, give Michelle the introduction that she deserves, please. Go for it.
Yes, we're bringing in for the off season and for who knows how long. Well, I guess for the Dynasty off season, Michelle Kirkpatrick. We got a chance to interact on Twitter, and I saw her talking about college football. I'm like, oh my God, someone actually knows what the hell they're talking about. And since none of us know anything about college football, even though we talk about rookies all the time, I thought it was wise to bring on someone that was way smarter than all of us. So Michelle, welcome on. We're really excited to have you, and we're excited to get this segment going that we got planned for you.
Thanks. I'm super excited to be here. I'm not sure I can live up to that introduction, but I will definitely do my best.
All you have to do is be smarter than us. It's not a very high bar.
We'll see.
It's not hard. It's not hard over here. Guys, so I am out of town. I'm coming to you from a hotel room right now. So if there is any lag, I am so sorry for any of that. But Michelle, let's go ahead and get started with you. I want to hear some about these college football players that I'm not going to know anything about. Give us your wham.
Sure. So the wham is a player that I'm excited about that I think is going to perform pretty consistently this season. And for that, it's a little bit of a homer pick. I am a Michigan fan, but it is JJ McCarthy this week. Again, his game against East Carolina, he was 26 for 30. No interceptions, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns. But what I really like about JJ is that his game is evolving. So last year, JJ was great on play action, but really kind of struggled as a pocket passer, except for in a few key moments, most notably the Ohio State game. But this year from the gate, he's already demonstrating a ton of improvement in that area. He looked terrific, hit some really, really tight windows with receivers who are great, but not quite NFL caliber, which tells me that if and when he makes it to the league, he's going to be a star.
Nice. All right. So how about a surprising player? So like a BAM player.
My BAM of the week is DJ Uyunglele. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He was. Does anybody know how to pronounce it? I'm supposed to be the expert.
I think it's DJ Ukulele. Ukulele.
Like ukulele, right? No.
Yeah.
DJ We'll go with DJ U.
Say it with confidence, and no one else is going to know that if it's wrong or not. Just confidently go out there and do it.
That's it. DJ U. Oregon State. He transferred over from Clemson. He actually lost a quarterback battle at Clemson, went over to Oregon State. Reviews were kind of mixed on that transfer, but he had a huge game on Sunday against San Jose State, the same team USC played. And I think he actually looked almost as good as Caleb Williams. Great running, great passing, pretty high completion rate. I think he was 20 for 25, no interceptions, 3 touchdowns. Just looked really dynamic in a way that surprised a lot of people, including me.
Nice.
Interesting. So are either of these guys?
I do know who Caleb Williams is.
You know Caleb. You should.
Or JJ McCarthy going to push Caleb Williams or Drake May for some of these top spots in the NFL draft?
hard. I think JJ is going to be a little bit more sneaky than DJ. JJ, because he's going to get more exposure playing at Michigan, he's likely going to be in the college football playoff, if not the national title game. I think there are going to be a lot more eyes on JJ, and I think that will elevate his draft stock quite a bit. DJU is someone who I would think about drafting for fantasy purposes, a little bit later when you're looking for someone on your bench that could be kind of a sneaky talent that might be overlooked.
Okay.
Nice. So last but not least, or maybe least, who knows, give us our thank you, ma'am. So our not so great person that just didn't have a great week.
Yeah, I think you're going to want to say goodbye, thank you, ma'am, to Cade Klubnik this week. He was actually the one who beat out DJU in that Clemson battle for quarterback, and he looked bad against a Duke team that was, I think people thought would be good, but not that good, not beat Clemson week 1 good. So Cade had 1 touchdown, not a great showing, 1 pick, and then a fumble in the red zone. He was playing under a new offensive coordinator, Garrett Riley, that people had really high hopes for. He was the former TCU coordinator last year. People thought that Cade had a pretty strong offensive line and just squandered it, honestly. And then, to top it all off, there's some footage of him going off to the sideline. Dabo, his coach, holds his hands up for a high five, and Cade Klubnik just iced him. So that might tell you a little bit about what he's like as a teammate, as a player, as a guy. I don't know, draw your own conclusions. But at least on the football field, it was not good for Cade Klubnik this week.
You got to be a pretty big jerk to make Dabo look like the nice guy.
Yeah, right? Won't someone think of Dabo? No one says that.
Well, I mean, I'm with you. I'm a huge believer in body language on the sideline. I think it tells a lot. And if that's what's going on, then I am right there with you. No thanks.
Yeah. I think that's going to be a miss.
I'm going to have to keep an eye on JJ
Michelle
McCarthy for the rest of this year. So thank you for
Definitely. Enjoy.
Go blue.
Go
There you
blue.
go. Michelle, it has been so great to have you tonight. I know you've got to get going, so thank you so much for taking some time out of your evening to come hang out with us and talk to us a little bit about college football. Guys, Michelle is going to be joining us throughout the season to kind of give you guys updates on the college football players you should be watching out for, have on your radar for the upcoming season. So be on the lookout for that. And Michelle, we will see you next time.
Thanks, guys. It's been great. See you soon.
Bye. Thank you. All right. So now, guys, we are going to do our way too early Rookie of the Year predictions. So not only are we going to give you the Rookie of the Year overall, we are also going to give you our predictions for the MVP position by position for all of these rookies that we have been talking your ears off for all season long, all off season long. We're going to start off with offensive Rookie of the Year. Kind of go with the big one first. And Chris, tell me who your top guy is.
All right. So the guy that I'm going with for the way too early Rookie of the Year is none other than Anthony Richardson. As of yesterday, he's currently has the 3rd best odds to win the Rookie of the Year behind, everybody's favorite Bijan and Bryce Young over in Carolina. I do like them both, but right now I'm going to ride with Richardson. And I'll tell you why. So who knows what's going to happen when it comes to this ever-growing saga between Jim Irsay and Jonathan Taylor. But right now we know that Jonathan Taylor is going to be playing for the first 4 games. And that means that Indy's going to have to rely more on Richardson's arm and his legs as well. That offensive line is a pretty solid unit, top 10 in the NFL right now, which is a big help to a young QB. It gives him that extra half second to process, so the game slows down a little bit so he can get through his progressions a little faster. Michael Pittman, he is a solid wide receiver, but it seems like he's been forgotten after last season, the past couple seasons really, where he's had to deal with that QB purgatory. And so now he's got to upgrade at QB, which will make life a lot easier, for Richardson. Coach Shane Steichen, Like, he was a big proponent in the drafting of Richardson. He says he sees a lot of similarities to Jalen Hurts, and that skill set, is going to help Richardson, who could, lead to some of those rugby scrum TDs that Hurts got a lot of in Philly. Richardson, he is still kind of raw, but like when you see him play, he can do things that no other rookie in this class is capable of doing. And if he puts it all together, gets the right coaching, gets in the right situations, he definitely could take those Rookie of the Year honors.
Nice. All right. So I see Kenton in our chat over here said that the offensive Rookie of the Year he thinks is going to be Bijan. Bill, I think you feel like it might be Bijan as well.
I mean, let's have it right. I think we all feel like it's going to be Bijan. We're just trying to get some content out to have a show. But look, it's almost inevitable, right? Unless he gets injured. The guy's taken top 10. He's taken by the Atlanta Falcons, who ran the ball more than any other team last year, 559 rushing attempts. The head coach is the guy that was Derrick Henry's OC when he went for over 2K. Unless he gets injured, I don't see a way that he just isn't the absolute workhorse back in this offense. He's the main man in a team and an offense that wants to run the ball. And he's Bijan Robinson. Like, we all know how talented he is. We all said the same thing when we watched his college tape. We sat down. I think me and Tyler both said we watched like 2 games, and when we don't need to watch anymore, he's as advertised. Look, all the QBs have always got a shot, always. But I don't think there's a guy that came out in this class that's a Justin Herbert or a Kyler Murray. I don't think that guy is in this class. So, I mean, like Chris said, Richardson's probably got the best chance with that rushing upside and with JT being out. But for me, outside of injury, I think sometimes the obvious choice is the right choice. And for me, Bijan Robinson is offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, that is exactly kind of what we're all thinking here. But Tyler, humor us with another choice in case for something, some reason Bijan doesn't take home that award.
I will humor you with a guy named Stephon Diggs 2.0, also known as Jordan Addison.
I thought you were going to say Raheem Jarrett then.
So when I'm looking for my offensive Rookie of the Year, I'm looking for 3 things. I'm looking for talent, I'm looking for opportunity, and I'm looking for a system. Talent-wise, Addison has it. I mean, he was my wide receiver 1 in this class when they were coming out. He certainly looked the part this preseason. He's getting open at will. He's making circus catches on the sidelines. If we're talking about opportunity, I mean, Kirk Cousins threw the most passes of his entire career last year. He threw 643 passes in that new look Vikings offense, and they moved into the 21st century once they got out of the Mike Zimmer ground and pound offense. And I expect a similar attack for the Vikings this year. They were 13-4 last year. So you think maybe they'll be ahead of teams? No. They were -3 in point differential last year, which puts them 15th in the NFL. So they were not as good as their record. They're not going to be as good as that record was last year. They're still going to be in game scripts where they're going to need to throw the ball like crazy. And if you look at the opportunity, Adam Thielen vacated 107 targets when he left for Carolina. I simply don't see KJ Osborne getting 90 targets again. JJ had a massive 184, which is probably, I mean, why not 200, right? He certainly deserves it. But I don't see any reason why Jordan Addison couldn't have 120 plus targets in this offense. And he can do a hell of a lot with it. So if I'm projecting him, I'm pushing him over 70 receptions, over 1,100 yards. If he catches touchdowns, he's got a real chance at pushing for this offensive Rookie of the Year, even though it's not usually wide receivers that win it. But I am very excited about Jordan Addison. I've got him in a lot of places, so that's what I'm going with.
Well, I really like Jordan Addison. I had him listed to talk about later when we get to the wide receiver section, but just for giggles, just so everybody is aware out there, since I'm in Vegas, I was looking up odds for Rookie of the Year, and according to FanDuel, he is a plus 1,600 as of 2 days ago when I put this out. So you could make a little bit of money if you put it on Jordan Addison and he happens to win that award. But since you did mention that receivers don't typically win that, Rookie of the Year, I actually had counted this, and not because you just said it. I had actually looked at it earlier. So there's only been 11 wide receivers to win the award going back to 1967. It's usually a top quarterback and running back. So for my pick, I mean, obviously, guys, I think it's going to be Bijan, of course. But just for giggles, and because I can't quit him, I'm going to make an argument for a dark horse here. That'd be one, Mr. Marvin Mims. That's right. I can't stop, won't stop. And let me tell you why. So, right. So Judy's out for the time being, right? We don't know what's going to happen with him. I know he practiced a little bit today. He's not on the IR, but hamstring issues are typically, pretty funky injuries, and you never know what's going to happen with those. I mean, is anybody else having Keenan Allen flashbacks from last year with 9 games that he missed? Yeah, I am right here. So maybe Keenan Allen's out. Who knows? If he's out, not Keenan Allen. I don't know. Sorry. Jerry Jeudy is out. If Jeudy is out, he led the team last year in 68 receptions. He had 987 yards. Sutton did have 6 more targets than he did. But regardless, his absence is going to leave a huge hole. It's going to leave a lot of open targets for, to go to somebody on that offense, which should be one way more efficient this year under Sean Payton, now that we have an adult in the room. So who's going to get those receptions? Who's going to get those targets? Marvin Mims. Marvin Mims is going to get those, guys. Come on. Marvin Mims is going to get at least some of them, right? So he's already had, he was already getting a starting role in that offense, right? As that third wide receiver. But now I think he has a huge opportunity to really show off his talent that made Sean Payton go after him in the second round. And it seems like everything is kind of falling into place for him to actually, be able to show what he can do and actually make a huge impact on that offense. Russell should hopefully bounce back. Mims is going to come out guns blazing. I think he's basically, he's going to have a season of destiny, right? To actually come away and win this award, which, probably won't happen. But, maybe the scriptwriters have a surprise up their sleeves. Who knows, right? You guys are laughing. That's okay. That's fine. I know. It's a long shot.
I love the script. I love the script writers.
Right? Come on. The scriptwriters are great. I love those commercials, by the way. So now that we talked about that, we are going to move on towards rookie MVPs by position, starting at the top with quarterback. Chris, who is your quarterback rookie MVP this year?
All right. So even though I did just say that Richardson's going to be the rookie of the year, I'm going to go a different way when it comes to the my rookie quarterback MVP. And I'm going to go with CJ Stroud. And there's like so many reasons why. Like a lot of people aren't expecting much from the Texans this year. And it's mainly based on that disgusting product that Lovie Smith put out there on the field last year. But there's a lot to be excited about. There's a new regime. So with the new head coach, D'Amico Ryans, comes the new offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick, and he spent his entire career learning under the Shanahans. So you would hope that some of that offensive ingenuity rubs off on him. So if the offense is heavily influenced by Kyle Shanahan, that's going to be a win for Stroud. Like San Francisco, even though they're a run-heavy team, they still threw the ball 56% of the time. And with Vegas expecting Houston to be trailing in a lot of games, you might see that passing volume like creep closer to 60%, for Houston. And more attempts brings more production. By using that run that they're really known for over in San Francisco, if this is what the Houston offense looks like, it can take some of that pressure off Stroud, who's a young guy trying to find his way in the NFL. And so he doesn't feel like he has to carry the entire team. He can just play, do his job, and, produce. The Texas wide receiver room, I mean, they can definitely benefit from a QB upgrade, to Stroud from over Davis Mills last year. So Nico Collins, John Mechie, Tank Dell, Xavier Hutchinson, and Robert Woods, I mean, they provide enough juice where they can make some plays and they can get that yak production, to really help out that young QB. Dalton Schultz, I mean, he's come over and he provides a nice security blanket. Like a tight end is a young quarterback's best friend, so he can help him out as well. And with Stroud, in his career at Ohio State, his 2 years as a starter, he threw for over 8,000 yards, 85 touchdowns, completed 69% of his passes. I mean, and there is a lot of talk of him being the most pro-rated quarterback in this class because of his ability, his size, and his processing of defense. Like, if he puts it all together, like, he really can be in line for some hardware at the end of the season.
Nice. I like that Stroud pick. That's a fun pick. Bill, do you have anybody different that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, it's Anthony Richardson. I look at it not only from a potential to win the actual offensive rookie of the year from the quarterback position, but also as the fantasy MVP of the rookies at the position. And I think obviously with Richardson's rushing upside, he's clearly the favorite in that regard. I really like Stroud coming out, but I just wonder if he's going to need, a year or two to acclimate himself with the pace of the NFL, with the speed of defenses, with the cleverness of defensive coordinators and the actual athletes on that side of the ball. He's not going to have. He had better weapons at college than he's got in the pros. Let's have it right. Anthony Richardson, not so much. I mean, his weapons in Indy aren't great, but we're expecting him to do the bulk of the work, especially in his rookie year with his legs anyway. So I think that dual threat, that ability of him to turn broken plays that other QBs that aren't as mobile would take a sack or have to throw the ball away. I'm expecting we're going to get some highlight real plays from Anthony Richardson this year. And they're the stuff that, if we go back to the actual award, they're the things that voters look at and it sticks in their mind. He should have been sacked and taken a 15-yard sack. He turned around, handed someone off and launched a missile down the field to Michael Pittman. Like, they're the things that stick in the mind, not so much CJ Stroud reading the defense and putting the ball on Tank Dell's numbers. Yeah, I just think that side of it makes Richardson sort of the obvious pick for the QB rookie MVP.
Nice. Now, Tyler, you also picked CJ Stroud too, so you and Chris are on the same page with your potential quarterback MVPs, right?
I did, and frankly, Chris already said all of the smart stuff with their weapons and Bobby Slowick. So I'm just going to talk about the vibes. I think CJ Stroud just has the best vibes of any of the quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson's on the Colts. Bad vibes all around on that team. Bryce Young, the Panthers just feel kind of meh, even though like they're easily the best team. Their offensive weapons are just meh. You got Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, Hayden Hurst, Miles Sanders. Like, that's the most meh group of offensive weapons that I've ever seen.
Plus, he can't see over the offensive line.
Yeah. I mean, the Texans
how dare
had
you
two
talk
good
about
tackles.
Jonathan Mingo that way?
Oh my God, I forgot about Jonathan Mingo. Dear God. But the Texans have Nico Collins, John Mechie, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz. I just feel good about them. They have two good bookend tackles, Laramie Tunsil and Titus Howard. I won't mention the interior of their offensive line, but the Texans just give me better vibes this year. They're actually trying. They're exciting. They traded up in the draft to get Will Anderson. So I'm going Stroud based off straight vibes.
Off straight vibes. I love it. So here's who I picked. I picked Bryce Young. Right now he's plus 450 on FanDuel. And again, that's as of a couple days ago to win the overall rookie of the year. Fun fact about quarterbacks, guys. Quarterbacks have won 6 of the past 12 seasons. I'm going to see if you guys can name the last 6 quarterbacks that have won the offensive rookie of the year. Let's go. Let's throw them out there. Let's see who you guys
Joe Burrow.
got. Don't look at the show sheet. Don't look at the show sheet.
Tua Tagovailoa.
He didn't win shit.
No.
Oh, Justin Herbert.
Yes.
Oh
Herbert's
man,
Dak.
I'm just kidding.
Dak is on there. Correct.
Dak
Yes.
got Zeke, didn't he?
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that. I see Jorge in the chat
Herbert?
over here. You've got yes, Herbert is in there.
Yeah. Oh man, it wasn't. Did Baker win it? I don't think he did.
Kyler Murray.
No. Yes, correct. Kyler Murray. So you guys have the first 3. You guys got Herbert, Kyler, and Dak.
I'm lost after that.
Josh Allen. No, not Josh Allen. I've been losing my mind. He sucked. All right.
Go fuck yourself.
I use the past tense.
Do you guys give up? You
Yeah,
guys give up? Okay. All right. So that would be one Mr. Cam Newton, RG3. RG3 and Jorge, come on, man. How did you not know RG3? Like, you're in the chat there, buddy. That's your team. And then let's see, Sam Bradford, which nobody would have got, right? Nobody's getting Sam Bradford.
I wouldn't have got that in a million years.
Look it up, man. Unless the internet's wrong, and it definitely could be. But Sam Bradford. Samuel Bradford. All right, guys. So again, back to what I was talking about originally, because we got a little distracted there. That was my fault. So I was picking Bryce Young for my quarterback rookie MVP. He's probably not hitting any of the numbers that those guys hit throughout the year. So I don't really see him winning the offensive rookie of the year overall. And unless, Anthony Richardson has just the most unbelievable year ever, it's probably going to be tough for him too, just because there's so many studs at other positions. But I think that he is when I say he, I mean Bryce Young, that he's in a position to have a really consistent production out of the group that he has, as not great and kind of meh as they may be. I think they can still be pretty productive. So, that's kind of why I'm going with Bryce Young there. And somebody else that we also kind of forgot about who might, have a chance to start some this year, Clayton Tune, right? He might actually have some decent playing time. No, Tyler says no.
Josh Dobbs
No,
was named
it's
the starter.
all Josh Dobbs. For how long,
he was named
though?
the starter.
For how long?
Who cares?
We don't know. We don't know.
It looks like
That's
Will
right.
Smith's
Nobody.
wife.
Yeah. No one cares about the Cardinals this year. Oh, I love Jorge is in the chat there. Guys, remember to throw your questions on into the chat. If you are watching us tonight. I do see a question in here, if you guys, before we move on to our next position group, that I don't want to pass over. So JJ wants to know, well, one, not only does he say that I'm legit, so thank you, JJ. I'll send you some Venmo later. But he wants to know how we feel about Dobbins versus Montgomery week 1. Bill, who would you start out of that group?
I'm going to play.
Yeah, I'm probably starting Monty just because there's the question with Dobbins, obviously, who's going to play, and also with Chris Jones missing on that defensive interior for Kansas City. The Lions, they switched to running two backs a lot more at the end of last season after they traded Hawkinson. And as much as I love Jamal Gibbs, the dude sub 200 pounds, I don't know if they're going to want to run him up the middle. So I think they're going to target that hole that Chris Jones has left in the interior. So give me Monty. I reckon he's good for a touchdown and a fair few carries at least.
Yeah, I think so too, Tyler. And then I'm going to go to Chris. Do you guys have any other any difference of opinion there?
I don't, just because the entire preseason situation with J.K. Dobbins has just been weird. I haven't been able to figure it out. Is he hurt? Is he holding out for unknown, like even more insane holdout than Jonathan Taylor? I don't know.
That dude is not getting paid.
No, he hasn't played. So
what is he doing?
I will start Monty this week. I just need to see what's happening with Dobbins before I can trust him.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Chris, what do you think? Any difference? Any thoughts there?
Nope. I totally agree with everything that's been said.
Yeah, same. So JJ, please start David Montgomery. Please do start David Montgomery over J.K. Dobbins. Hello to Albert jumping in the chat. It is good to see you there. So guys, we're going to move on to wide receivers now. So Chris, tell me about your wide receiver MVP.
So the wide receiver MVP that I'm going to pick is the Baltimore Ravens, Zay Flowers. It's the year of the short wide receiver. Like, it's a thing now. Flowers, like, he joins that Ravens wide receiver room. And to me, it's extremely overhyped this entire offseason. So just because it's the best wide receiver, like, core that Lamar has had, doesn't mean it's a great one. Like, Odell Beckham hasn't done much of anything since 2019. Rashad Bateman, failure to launch, and Nelson Aguilar, Tylan Wallace. Like, do we really need to talk about them? Devin Duvernay, like, he does this thing on special teams, and he's got speed, but, I mean, really, come on now. So, as of right now, today, Flowers really very well could be the best wide receiver on the roster. The Ravens, they finally moved on from the 3 yards in a cloud of dust, Greg Roman, and they brought in Todd Monken. And Monken, completely opposite offensive style. He attacks from sideline to sideline. He takes deep shots as well. He likes the players to get in open space and just make plays. And Flowers, he will put that dynamic playmaking ability that he has and that 4.4 speed to good use in this system. Like, even with his small frame, like, he's still good with the contested catch. He's not afraid to go across the middle. He's just a well-rounded wide receiver. So Andrews is there, and Andrews is going to command the ball a lot just because Mandrews is that guy. But I can see Flowers ascending to be the most trusted wide receiver on the team, really. Like OBJ, like, he challenges Kadarius Toney for injuries now. Bateman, I mean, he seems to deal with some nagging injuries as well. And I really don't know if Harbaugh and company like really have love for him like so far. So the offseason reports, they've sung all the praises of Flowers. And if Baltimore actually becomes more explosive, Flowers, he's in a position to like see a lot of production much faster than a lot of his rookie wide receiving counterparts. Flowers last year, in college, he had 78 catches for 1,077 yards and 12 touchdowns. The guy can ball. And with the opportunity I think he's going to get, I think he will show us some things this season.
Nice. All right. Well, I mean, I kind of really love Zay Flowers there. I think that's a great pick. But Bill, I want you to talk to me about a homer pick for me. But who did you pick?
So I went with an upside pick, and I went with Jaden Reed, a guy I really liked coming out. And when I sat down and thought about the wide receivers, I love Zay Flowers. We spoke about him last week. You go listen to the podcast that we did when we watched his college tape. The dude is Antonio Brown minus CTE. I just worry that, not worry, but in Baltimore, we know that the number one target is Mark Andrews. He's going to get the ball. He commands the ball. He is the Ravens version of Travis Kelce. Then there is OBJ. Last time we saw him on the field, he was tearing up the Super Bowl before his knee got teared up at the Super Bowl, right? So, and they seem to be quite happy to have him there, quite hyped to have him there. I wonder if they're going to kind of force feed in some targets. And as impressed with Zay Flowers as I am, and as much as I like him, and as much as Todd Monken is going to change that offense, they are going to play more 11 personnel. We're going to see more wide receivers on the field. I just wonder if he's going to be the third option in that passing game in his rookie year, which, if we're talking about this season, doesn't fill me with joy if we're thinking about an MVP wide receiver. I get to Jackson Smith and Jigba, who was the sort of obvious pick in my mind, but then the same thing occurs. You've got DK Metcalf, you've got Tyler Lockett, and I really like Jackson Smith and Jigba's ability to get loose underneath. I think Geno Smith's skill set is more just yeet the ball down the field. Yeah, he's a really good deep ball thrower. They're going to run the ball, deep shot, run the ball, deep shot. Again, not sure he merges particularly well with Geno, third choice on the offense. Jordan Addison, he's the second, as Tyler mentioned earlier, he's going to be the second option in Minnesota. But again, there's not a chance in hell he takes a spotlight from Justin Jefferson. So when I got to Reed, it was almost like the first player that I went, do you know what? He's only got to beat out Christian Watson to become Jordan Love's favorite target and lead that team in receptions. He's going to play the slot for a quarterback that, we know Jordan Love's not a rookie, but he might as well be. He's not played a lot of football. If he finds that safety blanket in his slot receiver, we could be looking at Jaden Reed leading the Green Bay Packers in receptions. A guy that I think is immensely talented, really, really liked him coming out. And I just saw that high upside of a guy that could be this year's Amon-Ra St. Brown, that we don't quite see come in, gets into a good opportunity where there's not a host of talented receiving options on his team. QB likes him, shows what he can do. And all of a sudden, we've got a little superstar on our hands. So yeah, I went with a moonshot, and I went with Jaden Reed at the Green Bay Packers.
Nice. I always like a Packers pick. Tyler, I also love too that none of us picked the top guys like JSN, Quentin Johnston. Like, we all went with different people
Quentin
here
Johnston
for this.
Sucks.
Well, that's why we didn't pick him. That's why we didn't pick him. But, yeah. So Tyler, tell me about your pick.
So this one was hard just because, obviously I'm last one of the sheet since I usually am. I've already talked about Jordan Addison. Bill and I both really like Jaden Reed. Bill already had Reed. Chris already had Zay Flowers. I'm not a believer of Quentin Johnston. I don't like the situation JSN is in just for like pure stat production. I think he'll be a very valuable football player, but you still got Tyler Lockett. You still got DK Metcalf. I am still not convinced last year wasn't a fluke for Geno. I hope it wasn't, but we shall see. So I had to take the guy who has a crap ton of opportunity, and that is Puka Nacua, the wide receiver for the Rams.
He's such a brown nose.
I like Puka coming out of BYU. He had the ability to get open. He's just a good football player. And if we're talking about it, I mean, Cooper Kupp, I don't know what's going on with him. I'm very, very concerned about the situation he's in. This seems kind of like an opportunity for the Rams to be like, oh, well, Cooper Kupp has to get healed. I guess he better not take any damage this year. So I'm not convinced we see him this year. And then you're looking at Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell, Ben Skoranek, and Demarcus Robinson. Like, again, meh. We're just talking about all kinds of meh today. So Puka, he has a shot. And since Stacy's in Vegas, Puka is plus 15,000 to be the offensive rookie of the year right now on FanDuel. That would be the best $20 I've ever lit on fire in my life. If the stars align and you put $20 on Puka Nacua at plus 15,000, that bet is paying off $3,000. Like, what? Yes, I will throw $20 on that any day.
And you only need half the rookie class to get injured for the whole season. So it's not like you're asking for a lot, really.
Exactly. The biggest challenge for Puka is staying on the field. He's been injured every single year of his career. He hasn't been able to stay on the field for a full season. So we'll see if he can stay healthy. And another big thing with that, we'll see if Matt Stafford can stay healthy and stay on the field. So, extreme long shot. That's why he's plus 15,000. But hey, I'll light that $20 on fire every day of the week. That sounds wonderful just to have that in my back pocket.
I think that's great. So, guys, at the end of the show, we're going to be going around doing a little group vote on who I need to go downstairs to the sports book and throw some money on for Rookie of the Year. So I feel like Tyler's vote's going to be Puka. That might be a lot of fun, and I might just do that anyway. I picked Jordan Addison as my guy. Tyler, you've already talked about Jordan Addison and all the reasons why you think he's going to have a great year. So I'm not going to dwell too much on it, but just, there were over 100 targets vacated by Thielen. Those are all up for grabs. I don't think that, TJ Hawkinson being there takes all of that away from Addison. I'm not worried about KJ Osborne at all, and Thielen kind of fell off after last year too. And I obviously think Addison is way more talented. So I think that, kind of the sky is the limit for him, especially with an offense that's going to be throwing a lot, right? I don't love their backfield. They've got a bunch of career backups in Madison, Chandler, Myles Gaskins now, and the other guy whose name I probably can't pronounce. I would butcher at this point. You guys know who I'm talking about, the special teams guy, right?
What's his name, Stacy? So
Nwegnu? I don't know. I'm gonna mess it up. Is it Kene? K-E-N, whatever. You guys know, right? Y'all know, whatever. Yeah. Anyway. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what his name is because he's not going to be relevant in their backfield this year. So anyway, like I was saying, all the scoring is going to come through the air. I think Addison gets a good chunk of that too. Bill, you're right. He's not going to take, the sunshine away from Justin Jefferson at all. But I think he's going to be a great number 2 in that offense for him. And I can't help but think to remember, back after Diggs left and Jordan Jefferson, I don't know why I want to keep calling him Jordan Jefferson, guys. I am really tired. I've been on a plane for a long time today. Justin Jefferson, that's his name. When he came in after Diggs left, he just, kind of came in and took over that role. And again, I'm not saying, Addison's going to take over for Justin Jefferson at all. But, I think he, definitely has a role in that offense, definitely going to be the number 2 there for sure. And I think he, has a chance to have a lot of production. So running back time. Chris, you have a homer pick, don't you?
I mean, it's not a homer pick. So a lot of people are going to say Bijan, and if not Bijan, a lot of people are going to say Jahmyr Gibbs. But I'm on the edge of glory right now, and I'm going to go with Devon A-Chain. And so it's like, how can you not at this point is how I feel right now. So Jeff Wilson, he's already starting the season on the pup. Mostert, he's often injured. Savon Ahmed, he lacks consistency. Those factors right there give A-Chain a path to production early. He's back from injury himself, and even though that shoulder injury, it derived from a WWE style slam on the shoulder. That's not really what you're going to see a lot in football. So I'm not worried about that too much. A-Chain, he comes to the Dolphins. He adds to that blazing offense, that speed that they have already with his 4-3 speed. With the blocking scheme and McDaniel's creativity with run game concepts, A-Chain's going to be used in a multitude of ways. Before that shoulder injury in the preseason game, A-Chain was consistently getting loose. He was picking up chunks of yardage. So McDaniel's, he's admitted that he didn't run the ball enough last year, and he looks to remedy that. He has not been shy in letting everybody know that he wanted a young running back this offseason. And A-Chain, he just has too much talent and big playability to be denied playing time. With Tyreek and Waddle keeping defenses honest, A-Chain is going to have ample opportunity to showcase his open field skills and his big playmaking abilities. When he left Texas A&M, he had 2,300 yards rushing, and he averaged 6.4 yards per carry, which is decent. He also had 65 catches. So he's going to be used. He's going to fit in exactly what the McDaniel's trying to do. So even though right now Mostert is the top guy, I can see A-Chain forcing that committee a lot. And I believe that injury is going to open things up. And if he gets a chance, I don't know if he's really going to give that, back to Mostert. As Tyler said earlier, when he looks for, a guy to put it to bet on, he's looking for opportunity. With all the injuries, opportunity is there in Miami. Talent, A-Chain is a talented guy. And the scheme, is definitely going to fit. Just all over the field, just being able to just open it all up. And right now, his odds to win Rookie of the Year are plus 3,200. And I think Vegas might have that a little off because I'm thinking that he's going to be your rookie running back MVP this season. Edge of glory.
Edge of glory. I love it. I hear Lady Gaga's in town this week, so maybe I can go see her and get her opinion on who's going to be the rookie running back MVP. But I like the A-Chain pick. I can't wait to watch him on Sundays. I think he's going to be so much fun just to watch him on the field. But Bill, tell me who your running back MVP is.
Yeah, I mean, before we get to that, A-Chain's going to be great. I agree with Chris. I think he's a brilliant player. It's just going to be a shame when after week 5 and he has to play special teams because Jonathan Taylor's not on the buff anymore. He's found himself in Miami and takes all of the carries there. So yeah, he'll be great for 4 weeks. And yeah, I'm a fan of A-Chain, but I'm going to go with Sean Tucker. No, I'm not. I'm going to go Bijan Robinson, obviously, because it's Bijan Robinson. I've said it all already. It's just injury is the only thing that's stopping him from just doing a rookie Zeke, running for 1,500 plus yards. Plus, this dude can run routes. I mean, I posted something on one of the socials earlier, bodying up a DB at Falcons practice. He's going to just, he's the man. Bijan Robinson's the man. We said it. I feel like sometimes we just get fatigued. And you go, Bijan Robinson can't be as good as we all think he is, as he's supposed to be. I think this dude is as good as advertised. So, yeah, nice, easy, nice and quick, Bijan Robinson.
Love it. Tyler, you and I had a mind meld on who we picked here. So you go first, and I'll just wrap up with how much I love this player when you're done.
Yeah, Stacy, you had a lot better stuff than me on Jahmyr Gibbs, but obviously the pick is Jahmyr Gibbs. Realistically, Offensive Rookie of the Year is a 2-horse race between Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson. They're both going to be used an insane amount. Jahmyr Gibbs has already been quoted as saying he's going to hit 1,000 rushing and 500 receiving this year. They're throwing around lofty names, Kamara, Jamal Charles, people like that. So he's going to play all over the field. He'll likely run it maybe 175 times, but he might get 90 freaking receptions. So this offensive player of the year thing, or offensive rookie of the year, is a 2-horse race. And the only reason I'd lean Gibbs, putting money on it at least, is better odds. And I just don't trust Arthur Smith. I feel like he's just going to give Tyler Algier 200 carries just for fun. So
he's going to Pep Guardiola it.
It's because Arthur Smith hates our fantasy team, just like Bill Belichick does. They hate our fantasy teams. Yeah. Well, to kind of like follow up, on all that with Jahmyr Gibbs, like I really like him too. If it's not going to be Bijan, I feel like it's going to be Gibbs. He's plus 900 right now on FanDuel for Rookie of the Year. Peter King from NBC's Football Morning in America has picked him for Offensive Rookie of the Year. So did Peter Schrager from Good Morning Football. Fourth best odds to win behind Bijan, Bryce Young, and Anthony Richardson right now. So I definitely agree. I think it's just between him and Bijan at this point. I did some math on fourth and frames last week with talking about Montgomery versus Gibbs here. And I kind of want to talk about it here too, because like you said, I mean, they're planning to use Gibbs everywhere. And if you go back and look at David Montgomery's career average, he's got 3 800-ish plus yard years and then 1,000 yard year. So I kind of think when you're looking at him, like what's the most likely thing to happen, right? Is that he probably, regresses back to where he's been the last 3 years of his career, which is around that 800 mark, right? And also, when you look at Detroit, they've just been adding yards to their ground game every single year. Last year was no exception. It was the highest production that they've had in the last 5 years. And if I remember right, I think it was over 2,000 yards. So if we have David Montgomery here, who maybe regresses to somewhere between 800 and probably more like 900 yards, that leaves a ton of yards for Gibbs to grab. And so, I mean, with him making those predictions, I don't think that he's off. I mean, I think that could actually happen with the way that Detroit's been running the last few years. So unless something crazy happens in Detroit and they just really, dial back their run game, I'm all in on Gibbs there. I don't understand why he's listed behind David Montgomery. I think he's going to be the number one, no doubt. And he's my guy for top running back. Before we move on to tight end, we got a question in the chat here from Bazambo. He wants to know, full PPR redraft, should he trade Josh Allen and Miles Sanders for Lamar and Travis Etienne? Bill, that's your guy. Josh Allen, that's your guy. So I want you to take this.
Stupid question.
Oh no!
Stupid.
Don't trade Josh
Allen. Should I trade Josh Allen for Lamar, who dies after week 12, and tank Bigsby's backup? No, you shouldn't do that. Keep Josh Allen, keep Miles Sanders, and just look, the season's nearly here, right? You can stop doing silly trades for no reason. You've only got one more day to wait. Just close the app and breathe, all right?
Chris, real quick, do you have any thoughts differently? Are you trading Josh Allen away? Are you shipping him off?
No, I'm keeping Josh Allen. I think he's the best player in that deal, and I don't feel that the gap between Etienne and Sanders is close enough to make the deal.
Tyler?
Unbiased opinion, at least. This feels like a trade just to trade, to be honest with you. I think Lamar could be really, really good this year, but Josh Allen is going to be really, really good this year. And Travis Etienne might outproduce Miles Sanders, but I think Miles Sanders is going to get more receiving opportunities because I think a lot of that is going to go to Tank Bigsby, and Travis Etienne is going to be the primary runner in that Jacksonville offense. So I will take the guarantee of Josh Allen and the receiving upside of Miles Sanders over the potential of Lamar and just production of Travis Etienne.
Go Bills.
All right, Bambozo. I hope you were listening there. Do not trade Josh Allen. Do not trade Miles Sanders. Keep those guys on your team. All right, last but not least, we are going to talk some tight ends real quick to wrap up our show here. Let's do it. Chris, you're talking about my fave. So let's hear it. I can't wait.
I'm taking Sam Laporta. He's joining that Lions team that put up a decent amount of points last year without many marquee names on it. That tight end room I mean, he doesn't have tremendous competition to get on the field. Brock Wright, James Mitchell, I mean, they don't really seem poised to stop him. The only pass catcher on the team that you really trust right now is Amon-Ra St. Brown. So there's room for targets. Jameson Williams, he's suspended right now. The ghost of Marvin Jones, he's returned, and Josh Reynolds, he rounds out their receiving room. But what do you expect there? So Sam definitely can get some time to shine. Laporta, I mean, he's a big body tight end, and he's got skills both in pass catching and the ability to block in line. So he's going to get out there on the field. Being the big guy, it doesn't stop him from, he has really nice route running, and he can create separation. And when he catches the ball, like, he's a load to bring down. The last 2 years in college where he was starting, he racked up 111 catches, 1,327 yards. Like, the guy's a beast. When the opportunity is there, he's going to make things happen. And with expected early chances, like, he's primed to step into big production right away. The only thing that's really going to slow him down is that curse of everyone playing with Amon-Ra St. Brown, either getting traded, hurt, or whatever. But I think he's going to be all right. And his odds to be rookie of the year are plus 10,000 right now. So,
All right, guys. Sorry, I had to put myself on mute because somebody is outside my hotel room talking on their phone and being really loud. So it is, they're a little early. It's still daylight hours out here in Vegas time. I love your Laporta pick, Chris. I'm not allowed to talk about Laporta anymore. I've hit my quota for the off season. So I'm glad to hear somebody else singing his praises. Bill, let's hear your tight end.
So I'm going to go with the obvious choice. I'm going to go with Swole Beasley, Dalton Kincaid. Like, he's a tight end in name only. The Bills are going to play him in the slot. Well, the Bills are going to play him all over the place, but he's going to get a lot of work in the slot. Cole Brandt said he was going to be offensive rookie of the year and he was going to hit 1,000 yards. I don't know what the fuck Cole Brandt's smoking, but I'll have some because it sounds good. He's not going to win offensive rookie of the year. He's not going to hit 1,000 yards this season. I can tell you that now, even as a biased Bills fan. But what he is going to do is he's going to be a great underneath target for Josh Allen. We've seen how much Josh Allen loved having Cole Beasley in that position the last few years, even last year when he came back, the ghost of Cole Beasley. So to have someone that can not only give him a bigger target underneath, but also, as we saw in preseason, his ability to create after the catch is something that the Bills haven't had, I mean, for a long, long time. Certainly since Josh Allen's been the quarterback. I think he's going to make a big difference. He's going to be on a winning football team, I hope. And I think he's going to come in and be the third option in the passing game, which for a rookie tight end is no mean feat. So yeah, give me Dalton Kincaid, aka Swole Beasley, as my MVP rookie tight end.
I have not heard him call Swole Beasley. Is that a Bill special? Is that a nickname that you came up with?
Bill's Mafia Degenerates name. I can't claim that I made it up. Some degenerate that's been for a table more times than he's been to work probably come up a bit, but I like it, so we'll go with it.
That's his name from now on. Tyler, who is your tight end?
I'm staying on brand here. He was my tight end one all throughout the process until Dalton Kincaid got drafted to a perfect situation. But I'm just still going to stick with Michael Mayer here. Frankly, no one is talking about him just because the Raiders are kind of weird. No one knows what the Raiders are or what they want to be. They'd much rather talk about Sam Laporta on an exciting Lions team. They'd much rather talk about Dalton Kincaid, shiny new toy, one of the best offenses in the NFL. They'd rather talk about Luke Musgrave, who's the guaranteed starter on an intriguing team with Jordan Love. But no one wants to talk about the Raiders. Michael Mayer's already beat out Austin Hooper. Austin Hooper's a pretty good player. He's not great, but he's pretty good, and Mayer has beat him out for the Raiders starting job. Jimmy G is their new quarterback. Jimmy G does not throw the ball down the field. He was 33rd out of 39 qualifying quarterbacks last year in air yards per attempt. Derek Carr was 10th last year. Derek Carr was just slinging the ball down the field to Devontae Adams constantly. I just don't see Jimmy G doing that. And Mayer and Hunter Renfrow could benefit greatly from this. And Mayer's going to be on the field a lot. He's already shown a lot of improvement in his blocking. he reminded me a lot of TJ Hawkinson in the way he plays the game. Like, let's not forget about what Michael Mayer did in college. He was the Notre Dame offense for 2 years. He led the team in receiving. He caught 138 balls for 1,649 yards and 16 touchdowns in his final 2 seasons at Notre Dame. He was all over the field. They were running bubble screens to him. They were handing the ball off to him. He was blocking. He was doing everything. So I don't want people to forget just how good Michael Mayer was in college and why the Raiders spent a quite high pick on him. So Michael Mayer is my pick for tight end of the year.
And Michael Mayer also has the second best jawline on his team behind Jimmy Garoppolo. And you guys thought that I wasn't going to get a Jimmy Garoppolo line in on this show. You were wrong. Tyler, you just set me up perfectly for that. Yeah, thank you. All right, so my guy is a dark horse. He's my third tight end behind Kincaid and Laporta, and that's going to be Luke Musgrave, coming in at plus 10,000 on FanDuel right now. Only because I can't stop talking about Laporta, or I'm not allowed to anymore, like I said. According to the internet, again, no tight end has ever won, or at least has won Rookie of the Year going back to 1967. So unfortunately for this position group, this is all just for fun for us here. But I think Musgrave has got, he's got the talent, he's got the opportunity. I think that's going to equal fantasy success for him. They're in Green Bay, especially right with the news coming out too. Now we're worried about Christian Watson's hamstring, and there's some, concerns with Romeo Doubs too now. So who's still there? Who's available for? Yeah, exactly. Who's there for Jordan Love to throw to? It's going to be Luke Musgrave. Right? So he's going to be his giant safety blanket there. He played in nearly all the snaps in the last preseason game. He is their number one tight end, no doubt. Tucker Kraft, Josiah DeGuara, aren't going to be factors there. Normally, like I said, don't like rookie tight ends for productive seasons. But I think that, this year we're kind of witnessing one of the most talented rookie tight end groups coming out of the draft this year with, Kincaid, Laporta, Musgrave, Darnell Washington. No. One of these things is not like the other, right? That's okay. That's okay. But anyway, I really like Musgrave there. That's why I'm kind of just taking him as the dark horse there, just to get a chance to talk about him a little bit. But I think he's going to have a really productive season, for the Packers. So all these tight ends that we talked about, all 4 of these guys, I think are great, players this year. I think are going to have a lot to show for their teams. But guys, that's it. We kind of did it. We talked about everybody. We talked about all the position groups, all the potential, MVPs, all the potential, rookie of the year. Guys, real quick, who am I going downstairs right now to throw some cash on for rookie of the year? Besides Puka.
Michael Wilson.
Yeah, I love it. Chris, what do you think?
Got to go with Laporta or either my man A-Chain.
Yes.
Listen, just go hedge your bets and throw 50 on Bijan. He's plus 275. It'll pay out like almost 150. Just go hedge with that with all these other long shot bets.
Done. All right. Well, guys, that's where I'm headed. I'm headed downstairs to the sports book. These guys and myself too, we are going to see you next week. Make sure that you are liking, subscribing to the pod on YouTube. You can follow all of us online. You can follow Tyler at FF Tyler Heil. Chris is at Dynasty Deviant, and Bill is at Bill_Mustafa. Online, I am at Stacy_Perez83. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with all of us tonight. Make sure to leave out the wings and beer for Santa tonight, because football is back, baby, and we will see you next week.